All right. What is going on, everybody? I hope you guys are doing great today. I got with me a special guest today, and I'm going to ask him a few questions about his experience with the keto coaching. So we're going to get right into this, and I'm going to go ahead and just ask him the questions now. So the first question I got is, who are you and what do you do?
My name is Ralf Zimmerman. I'm retired Air Force, and I drive for a company called Envoy America, where I pick up seniors and disabled people, bring them to their medical appointments, and bring them back home.
Awesome, great. So next question I have is, what was the reason that you decided to work with me?
To be perfectly honest, I didn't know anything about keto. I never even heard about it until I started watching your videos. And I thought that the way you presented yourself when the information that you were giving out on the Facebook videos that you posted was very accurate. You first asked me what my goals were, and I told you I weigh 230. I'd like to get back down to 180, 185. And you said, we can do that. And we discussed what your coaching would involve. And I thought it would be well worth it to have somebody, a mentor, so to speak, somebody I can go to when I had questions. Up to you. Email you the questions, or even send you certain keto recipes that I was curious about, and you would review them and tell me whether or not you thought it was. And you had warned me not to get caught up in all the marketing strategies going on with keto, because there were so many different plans out there that I didn't know one from the other. And the recipes that you gave me the okie dokie on, I went on ahead and started cooking.
That's great. Because I think there was a lot of confusion for you when it first came down to it, with just so much different information. And it's so much different now than it was back when I started back in 2015. It was pretty straightforward then at that point, when I was learning it myself. And now we have different companies that are so many companies involved that it just creates all this confusion when it comes down to what to do.
So I followed your advice, and the pounds just started melting away. I couldn't believe it. I woke up excited every morning when I stepped on the scale before even going downstairs to grab my first cup of coffee.
That's great. What was it that really influenced you to start doing this?
I went to 2 funerals in 1 week.
Right.
In the month of February, where 2 close friends of mine passed away suddenly. When I went to these funerals, it was a wake-up call for me, because these people were not that far from me in age. So I decided to take a look at myself, and I asked myself, do you want to be around the dance at your granddaughter's wedding? Right. And the answer, of course, was yes. And my oldest grandchild is 14, and yes, I would love to be at her wedding one day.
Right.
And when I realized that these 2 friends of mine passed away before they had that opportunity, I thought, I got to change something. I'm not feeling up to par. I'm overweight.
So how is it, how's it been working together, and what results have you had so far? I know the first 7 days you took off quite a bit of weight, and you had some issues with your knees that are somewhat clearing up, I believe.
Yeah. Well, first of all, the pounds melted off, especially the first week. I lost 15 pounds the first week alone. I couldn't believe it that during that first week I was losing 2-3 pounds a day. I couldn't believe it. What really amazed me is it wasn't a caloric restricted diet. I wasn't counting calories, and I was going to bed every night with a full stomach. I feel the biggest advantage was that I began to feel a lot sharper mentally.
That's great.
And I also noticed that there was a huge reduction in the pain that I was feeling for years in my knees.
Yeah, that's great. Able to
I live in a 2-story house, and now suddenly I find myself climbing up the stairs like a normal person instead of 1 step at a time, like an old grandpa,
Right, absolutely, yeah.
I've been on blood pressure medication for a few years now, and I addressed this reduction in my blood pressure with my primary care physician when I went for my last physical, and he also noticed right away a great loss in weight when I stepped on his scale, and his scale actually said I was lighter than what my scale said.
Right.
He looked at me and he smiled and goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm doing the ketogenic diet." My wife has also started losing weight, and she gets a nice piece of that casserole for breakfast every morning before she
Sure.
goes to work. So I fix one every week like clockwork, and I love it.
That's great. That's great. The food's, yeah, that's one thing is that you get to eat until you're full and satiated, and still lose weight with this diet, which is great.
Yep.
It's amazing. Well, why do you think that, having a keto coach is important? Why was it important to you? And why do you think that'd be important to other people as well?
I'll tell you honestly, Anthony, because on all the other stuff I've seen on the internet, nobody ever mentioned intermittent fasting and explained the benefits of it as you have. I don't really pretend to understand it, but I'm feeling a little younger too. So,
Right. Definitely look like it. So that's amazing, man. What would you say to someone who is not doing a keto diet, and they're on the fence of why they should try it?
well, I mean that actually depends on the person, on how they're feeling about how, their life and how they feel. But
Mhm.
if I hear somebody complaining about how they're a little lethargic, or they haven't been sleeping good at night, or every 5 minutes they're wondering what they're going to have for lunch or
Right.
dinner, I would definitely talk to them about the keto diet and why it's not just about losing weight, it's about feeling better.
Right. Absolutely.
I highly recommend it, and I hope I don't insult any of my friends that are somewhat obese, by recommending it. I'm just saying it's not
Right.
only about weight loss. That's only a side benefit as far as I'm concerned.
Right. Sure.
The main
Exactly.
benefit was the reduced inflammation that I noticed within the first week of my
Right.
knees. The other benefit is the reduction of my high blood pressure medicine intake.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that's great. I mean, there's so many physiological changes that happen. When you first
Yeah,
start doing this, you lose the water, then you start losing the fat, and yeah, sure, we look better, and that's nice to look better, but it's just the fact that we feel so much better too, as well. Like you said,
that's the primary benefit.
primary benefit, absolutely. We reduce that inflammation, blood pressure starts to regulate. Our cholesterol normalizes, our hormones start to normalize. All these factors, and we see that time and time again with people that do this when they're doing it right. Whenever you're doing it properly and you're doing the diet correctly, and you'll see those benefits. So it's pretty
Well,
amazing, and I've definitely seen it in you. And um,
I
so
can tell you that my wife saw it, and she said to me after I was on it for a week, she says, "I want what you have," because I was always super energetic in the morning when I bring her coffee up to her, and she's kind
right.
of bragging. She says, "I want what you have." And I said, "Okay."
Yeah.
I said, "I'll be glad to help you with it." I
Right.
got a keto coach, and he's leading me step by step. And the guidance that you gave, because if you remember, shortly after I signed up for your 8-week program, I was concerned because in the middle of that 8-week program, my wife and I had already booked a cruise, to celebrate our anniversary and her birthday. And I thought, oh man, that's going to be a deal killer for me, because the
Mhm.
food on these cruise ships is phenomenal. Well, it wasn't difficult at all.
Sure. So, for people that don't know me or haven't worked with me, why would you recommend me to them?
Why? Because every time when I had a question about should I eat this or shouldn't I eat this, I would email you, and then you got back with me right away. And because there's an awful lot of confusing information out there, and that's why I found it particularly very beneficial for me to have a keto coach as yourself, because one, you practice what you preach, and you've been on keto since 2015.
Right. Absolutely.
So if you're going to have somebody coach you, have somebody that practices what they preach. You were very accessible, and you gave a lot of good advice, and well, you were coaching. You were coaching, and I needed that.
That's great, man. But yeah, I mean, you look great, and I can tell you got a lot more energy, and you're just feeling great, and that's amazing. So, I appreciate you hopping on this call, and yeah, thank you so much. That's amazing. So, guys, if you like what you just heard from Ralph, fill out that application below, and we can hop on a free call and see if we're a good fit. me and you and get on that phone call and see if we're a good fit to work together. That first call it doesn't cost you anything, and so it's no obligation on that first call for sure. So
just fill it out. Just a few questions of what your goals are, and he'll reach out to you, call you, discuss your goals with you, and he'll work out a dietary plan to help you reach those goals. But more important than reaching a weight loss goal is feeling better. I got more than my money's worth just because of how I'm feeling now.
right, that's great, man. Well, good talking to you, Ralph. I appreciate everything, and we'll have to talk soon.